Welcome everyone to my channel. This is TJ the Holistic Life Coach. Today we're going to do episode 3 of the How to Be High Off Life series. So today we're talking about clinging or attachment, not wanting to let go, and aversion. So the pushing away of something or just not wanting to be included in something. But first, I want to start this video off with a quote from Paramahansa Yogananda. He was a yogi, he wrote many books, and one of my favorite books, he says the way to be non-attached, or the way to be spiritually free and non-attached, is to realize that this earth belongs solely to God. So whatever your belief or concept of God is, Paramahansa is explaining to us that when we realize that everything we see, including ourselves, is God. And when we realize this oneness of everything, the connectedness of everything, and how it's all growing, we become free. We realize that something we think that we own or that we have or that we should have is actually an illusion. There's nothing that we will be able to take with us to the next life or the next transition that is going to be an object or material. We can only take our very being, ourselves. And I love how Yogananda explains it so simply that this is the way to being spiritually free. So in Buddhism, the main teachings of Buddhism are telling us that attachment is suffering, clinging is suffering, wanting to have something or wanting to really own this thing that you already have and just holding on to it so tightly and not letting go, that is going to lead us to suffering. It always does. Whether this is a thought, whether this is a person, whether it's an object, the list goes on. There's all sorts of forms in the universe that we can cling on to that eventually lead us to suffering. Now, I don't want to confuse this with desire. It's perfectly okay to have a desire of something. But it's when we cling to this desire of something, that's when we tend to suffer. So, being able to find our attachments sounds very simple, but it can actually be very difficult sometimes. Because all we have to remember is that where we are clinging, we are suffering. But it's hard to know where exactly we're clinging because we can do this consciously and subconsciously. Same in the last video, I talked about limiting beliefs. It's hard to find them sometimes, although it seems very easy. But it definitely is possible. So, as similar to the last video that we had about beliefs, all we have to do is see what brings us down, see what makes us angry, see what upsets us, because deep down there's something we're clinging to. We, as humans, tend to cling onto our ego or the thoughts that we have about ourselves, and we always believe that these thoughts are true, even though we are the ones who created the thoughts in the first place. In reality, we're just amazing, eternal, loving awarenesses or souls that are within these bodies that are doing different things. And we tend to take our thoughts too seriously, and we hold on to these thoughts. And we say, no, I'm definitely TJ, or I'm definitely Bob or Josh or whatever. So we put ourselves into our very own limitations and traps with our thoughts, with clinging onto these thoughts, holding on to them so tightly. For example, if you're within a certain religion, you say, no, I'm a Catholic, I can't be a Jew. Me, I'm a Catholic. That is just a thought. It's a religion you're part of. Even though it's true that you're part of the religion, you have this cling to an identity that you hold so strongly, and you say, no, I'm me and that's them. Those are Jews and we're Catholics or whatever it is. And so you can see that whatever thought it is, whatever identity you have of yourself, can lead you into a certain type of spiritual trap where you limit yourselves with your own created identity of yourself. So clinging is it can be very, very deep or very, very superficial, and sometimes these things are harder to see and sometimes they're easier to see. And so it all depends on what your attachment is. And we all have many, many attachments because that's what our brains do. That's how we hold on to reality, or what we think is reality, by holding on to these thoughts and clinging to them, holding them so tightly. It's when we are able to realize that these limitations we put ourselves are only just our own thoughts, that is when we start to become free or high or whatever word you want to put with it. Alright, another example of where we cling and we get attached is being the person who is right. As humans with egos and different things going on in our brains, we always want to be the one that is correct in some type of argument or a conversation, and we want to bring up all the evidence or whatever it is we found to be the one that's right. And we get such a little temporary rush off this. And we see how it usually ends up just being a very stupid argument, and it doesn't help us in any relationships. We don't go any further with our relationship with someone. We try to be on top of them and tell them, no, we're right, my idea is correct, the way I think of life is correct. That's a form of clinging, being attached to an idea. Whether you are actually correct in some logical situation, it really doesn't matter, because if we're not going into it with love and loving the other person, seeing them as another beautiful human being, then we end up hurting the relationship anyway. It doesn't matter. And so there's different things, especially in relationships, we can see where we cling on to, we hold on to things, and it doesn't usually help us. Actually, it never helps us if we're clinging with just a clinging instead of having a loving thought or a loving desire to share with people. So we can see how what Buddha has taught us is very true. Clinging leads to suffering. This doesn't mean that we can't want something, get something, and enjoy something. We can do all those things. In fact, we can probably enjoy these things even more when we realize the beauty of it all and realize that we can't cling to it. We can't take it on to us to the next life. We can't, whatever it is that you believe that happens this next life, we really can't take any object with us. And so all we have is our very own being. And as we can learn through these videos, and as I've hopefully taught you guys, we can have love and joy and freedom come from within. And one of the biggest parts of it is clinging and attachment. This is how we get high, is how we get free. Like Yogananda said earlier, the quote that I used in the beginning of the video, he says that everything belongs solely to God. So again, however you believe God is, or what he looks like, or what form he takes, whatever, it doesn't matter. All that matters is everything is just here and now. It all belongs to the one, to the infinite universe. We have to realize we cannot take anything with us. So it's enough about attachment. We're going to go into aversion now. So what is aversion? Aversion is when we push something away. So one thing I love Ram Dass, he's just full of a lot of wisdom and love and joy. But anyway, one thing Ram Dass says, anything that brings you down is a clue to work on yourself. So when we avert ourselves from something, we push something away that we don't like, that's a clue to work on ourselves. That is showing us a place where we want to hide it into the depths of our mind and not think about it too much. But we do that because we're scared. We have fear. We have fear that whatever it is, whatever process we have to take to get through that emotion that we're putting away is going to be too hard, and we're just going to crumble, we're going to fail, we're going to be a failure, we're never going to succeed. Even though we know that is complete BS, we know that we'll be okay, deep down anyway, but we have to realize that the things that we avert and we stay away from are those things that we need to work on. Now, I know that in my life and different relationships I have with different human beings, when there's a time where something pops up, something happens, to get agitated, whatever, and it's noticeable, but then the two people or multiple people in the relationship push it away and don't talk about it, and we keep on going like nothing happened, then we can feel that tension that's between all those beings as we go on with our lives. But when we bring it up, we finally talk about it, yeah, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but then we finally heal. Like the Bible teaches us, like Jesus Christ teaches us, he always says that eventually everything will be put into the light, and things have to be put into the light in order to heal. Nothing in the darkness is going to heal. And so we have to be able to find the things that we are pushing ourselves away from and staying away from. So, of course, that means going to our subconscious mind. So how do we do that? Well, there's many different ways we can. Dreams are huge. Dreams are a huge way to see what we're steering away from, what we're pushing away from, especially when we have nightmares. We can see past the symbolic nature of dreams and see, okay, what is it that is actually keeping me away from doing whatever it is I need to do to be able to keep being high, to be free and whatever. So there's dreams, there's relationships, see what things we push away when we're talking about something with our loved ones or family or spouse or whomever. Now, I do have to explain boundaries. We need boundaries. I'm not saying that everything that you have a relationship with someone should be always brought up, because we need boundaries, because you may be ready to work on something, but the other person's relationship is not. So you need to be clear with boundaries, you need to set boundaries, and you need to be respectful of other people's boundaries and relationships. Everyone needs to go at their own pace with healing and with love. And sometimes it means that we slowly bring things out to the light. Sometimes it doesn't mean we bring out everything because we're not ready to. And that's okay. We can all go at our very own pace. Once, when I was a missionary in Idaho, I had a woman who I was very connected to and had deep feelings for that was away. We were doing a long-distance relationship as I was in Idaho. And as I was there, she eventually cheated on me. She found another man and did things with him. And of course, I was heartbroken. It was really tough for me. But I kept going. I was busy sharing the message of Jesus Christ to everyone and having a good time, and I decided I'd just forget about it. I wouldn't work on it, and I'd just keep on going with my work of helping others. And so I went an entire week where I just did not give any thought to it. And at this point, I was I was more immature in my healing, my growth. I didn't know exactly how to deal with emotions and aversion or attachment. And so I went on throughout that week just doing whatever I could to help other people, but I didn't focus on myself and what was going on within me. And eventually, my spiritual teacher at the time, who also happened to be in Idaho, where I met her, she helped me to realize that I needed to sit down and take time to myself. I needed to find the things that I was averting from, and I needed to work on those things because I kept pushing away. And because of this, my ability to help others was receding. It was not getting better. It was getting worse because I was holding on to things, or at least I had things within me that I wasn't bringing out and healing. So again, everything that we need to heal and work on, it needs to be brought to light. If we have an addiction to something that we're keeping secret from everyone, we can't heal that, we can't work on that without other people, without it being known, without it being shared. We need other people's help. And whether those people that they get down on us for being addicted to something, it doesn't matter. As long as it's out, we're already healing. That's already a step. We need to get it out there. So we also would call this shadow work, which is when you work on the subconscious part of yourself, the part of yourself that's hidden. We need to bring those things out. So attachments and aversions are very useful because we can find those things that helps us to find, okay, what do we need to work on? And I hope that all these little details I shared can help you to find the things that you need to work on, the aversions and clings that you have, so you can be spiritually free, spiritually high, enjoy life. And you may not get to a point in this lifetime where you're completely free of all attachments and clingings and aversions, and that's okay because this is life. Ram Dass explains that his spiritual journey in his life, he eventually gets to the point where finding things that brings him down is actually more entertaining than finding the things that brings him higher or makes him happier. Because then he realizes that he's free the whole time. There's actually the deepest part of him that is free, and it's loving the journey of finding things that bring him down so he can be more and more free and more high. Because we are eternal beings, we're on an eternal journey, and as we go, we only get freer and freer and higher as our consciousness expands. So I hope this video has helped you guys. Please support me by liking, subscribing, commenting, comment what you think. You can, if you hate me, go ahead and say it. Like whatever you want to say, just say it. I love the support. I love the attention. I hope this video just helps you guys to be able to raise your consciousness and to be better and better beings full of love every single day. I love you guys. We'll see ya. Have a great day.